Hola, boys. What's crack-a-lackin'? Yes, I got a haircut, and yes, there's drama in the FC Barcelona dressing room because nothing can ever be normal or decent in this club. And we're going to talk about it today. We're going to talk about what I think the repercussions of some of this stuff are, like Ter Stegen losing his captaincy, not necessarily surprised about that, and then Gavi and Fermin apparently being at war. I don't know. This is a little very nonsensical, but stuff that needs to be discussed nonetheless, just because I think a lot of people are kind of blowing it out of proportion or really reading into a few things, especially one thing that Fermin posted a few hours ago and then actually recently just took down. We're going to get into it today. Begin with Ter Stegen had his captaincy completely stripped from him today. We saw reports earlier this morning that because of Ter Stegen's position as the number one captain, he was set to make a speech at the beginning of the Joan Gamper match, just because that's what normally happens. It's usually the first captain of the team. That's the one who makes the speech, does the whole thing, sets the standard for what the team expects going into the season, kind of like Messi telling everybody he's going to bring us the Champions League. That didn't happen. And just that was uncalled for. But things like that. And Ter Stegen was going to be the one to say that. And obviously, considering the state of the club, considering of Ter Stegen's position as clearly the club tried to push him out, the fact that he's also fighting with the club with his contract situation, not his contract, his registration situation due to his surgery, which, again, I'll get into in a second of what the recent reports have sounded like. You don't want this guy giving a speech. And I'm not, again, I think Barcelona are not treating him the best because I think it's just a little disrespectful to push a player out of the club one way or another. I've complained about not complained, but I've touched on how Madrid have done it to Casemiro. They did it to Sergio Ramos. A lot of club legends are treated like that at Madrid, and Barcelona are different. Usually they are more willing to make long contract deals and extend their relationship with players. Ter Stegen, it's basically the exact opposite. They're kind of taking a page out of Real Madrid's playbook and trying to push him out of the club. It's his time. They're saying we just signed this new keeper. He's clearly the number one. We signed him on the promise that he would be the number one. So, of course, that means Ter Stegen is either going to have to fight for his position and get kicked out. And with Chesney and everything signing, it really looked like they were trying to get rid of him. But homie's putting his foot down. He's made up this surgery. I don't think it's made up, but I think he elected for surgery that I don't think he would have elected to do if he were to play this season. And by doing so, he kind of gets out of the being a number two keeper, right? He has an excuse, I can imagine, in his mind and maybe for his agents to move forward with, also for the German national team for his position there. To kind of say like, oh, I was still the number one. I was just out injured. I can still be that guy and kind of thing there. But now the way the contract situation's been all messy, Barcelona were hoping to use his timeout for his surgery to be able to register. They would be able to use 80% of that wage space if Ter Stegen were to be out for 4 months or more. But Ter Stegen is not signing off on that and is basically saying, LOL, no, guys, I'm only going to be out for 3 months, which is nonsense. Like, the only possible reason to say this is to screw over Joan Garcia and the club and not allow them to sign them. It's kind of sick. It's like savage. But it sucks because I'm a Barcelona fan, not a Marc-Andre Ter Stegen fan. I'm not sure there are many of those, at least among culés right now. There's one on Twitter, and nobody was agreeing with what she was saying. Yeah, it's just a sticky situation, and now Barcelona stripped him of the captaincy, so he doesn't have to give that spiel. I think it's going to go to Frankie de Jong. I think he's going to be the first captain, and your thoughts? I've seen some people saying that he's going to not extend these contract negotiations for a while and then snake us next summer. I don't think that's the case because I don't really see a reason for him to do that. He's already made a ton of money throughout his career. He's like made more than most players ever will because he signed a huge contract at Barcelona at 21, 22, and he's been here for 5 years. He's still going to get a great deal. Barcelona are still able to pay him a significant amount, and I think Barcelona are in a better position than just about any club to have him, right? There's maybe only Liverpool is in a better spot and will be for the next 3 or 4 years. You could argue maybe Arsenal, but that's ambitious considering their trophy history. And Man City, who knows what's going to happen with them. Then you have PSG, but I don't think Frankie would want to join PSG necessarily. They're really the only club that makes a ton of sense besides maybe Bayern that can like live up to the level that Barcelona is getting to and was last season for all intents and purposes. So I think he's going to stay in, but he's going to give that speech probably getting that first captain armband. I don't think it'll go to Araujo because his position in the squad's a little bit questioned. Frankie's also been in the squad in the first team for longer than Ron, so for that reason, it's usually by seniority, not for anything like that. And then there's been talks about either Gavi or Inigo Martinez getting the other fourth armband spot. Because there's Rafinha, Araujo, and Frankie, and it's probably going to go to Gavi or Inigo. I would expect it to go to Gavi because Inigo's probably going to be on his way out in the next year or two, probably the next year. I don't imagine him staying much longer than that. It already seems like Hansi's testing out a few things to get past him. That's kind of reading into stuff for it's a little reading into what we've seen so far, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see a ton of them this season, especially if Andres Christensen plays a lot more football. Now, the Gavi thing, I think Gavi deserves it. I think you want a La Masia guy to have it. That's kind of the history. That's how it's worked for the longest time. And I think Gavi has that in him more so than maybe Pedri or a Ferran Torres, whose position's a little bit here, is also not a La Masia guy. Neither is Pedri, for that matter. But Gavi really seems like the most obvious choice. Kubarsi, in a few years, not yet. You know what I mean? He's still only 19, I think he's 19. Still a little early for that, in my opinion. He will get it at some point, though. They're now considering Gavi's situation right now, and makes it a little weird with Fermin Lopez. Hansi Flick has already stated that he wants Fermin to stay, but we've seen some reports recently that Gavi and Fermin are having trouble because their girlfriends don't like each other. Seems stupid. Seems like a 21-year-old and a 22-year-old doing stupid, like having a stupid conversation and being stupid because they're kids and they have stupid arguments. And like I've seen stuff that their girlfriends don't like each other for a couple months now. I've seen some stuff on Twitter. This is really, I hate that I'm touching on this, but I think it addresses my dressing room basically, and that's kind of why I want to cover it. I think we're reading into it. Fermin posted something today on his story that was a lot like people that hide or cowards or liars, something like that, show their faces, something like, I don't know, they like fold basically. And or people betraying, something like that, where it was either it felt like somebody got broken up with, or he's kind of adding Ter Stegen. Maybe it's Gavi. I don't know. I feel like I'm really reading into that. I think it's probably Ter Stegen because it happened similarly in time to when Ter Stegen got his armband taken away from him, and whether that timing is incidental or not, who knows? It's just a little weird thing to see from Fermin. He took it down within 30 minutes of it being up because I think he saw the repercussions of it. He was getting the messages, seeing what people were saying online about it, and it was like, there's no reason to be in this drama. But it's making me a little bit curious to kind of what's going on in that dressing room right now. We've seen Gavi and I think Frankie de Jong interviewed about Ter Stegen's situation, and both of them saying that, he's a club legend, deserves respect, and we should treat him like that. And I think that's the right way to go about it from these players, where you don't want to encourage problematic behavior among fans, and if you do so, whether or not it's the right thing to do, it can look bad for you and create some more drama around a club that already has and always will have a lot of drama around it. It's just kind of an unnecessary, more of an immature thing to do. Fermin with this post is a little weird, and I don't know if it has footballing ties or it's with his girlfriend. I think he posted something in a story about his girlfriend, just normal, so I don't think it's about her. I would assume it's Ter Stegen, and if that's the case, it's just unprofessional, and maybe his agent or management reached out to him, told him to delete it or whatever, which I wouldn't be surprised about. But it just all leads to this kind of club being a little bit hairy in that dressing room, and I'm not sure what's going on in there. I'm not sure what the vibe is around Ter Stegen. I would expect the English speakers to be a little bit more warm to the idea of him. Maybe Frankie, who's been there for years, Christensen probably as well, who is, they're just a few English speakers in the squad. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a better relationship with Ter Stegen, though I have seen that over the past few years, he seems isolated on all the celebrations, a lot of posts. You don't really see him hanging out. I think for his birthday, for his wedding or something, or birthday party a couple years ago, it was like Sergio Roberto, Frankie de Jong, and maybe Christensen. I think that was when he was at the club there, and no one really else. Not many of the, at least of the Spanish guys there. I'm interested to see how it works, and I think Ter Stegen is. It's just creating drama in a way I don't want to see. I just don't want. I want to see these guys play. I want to be excited to watch them play. That, and then you can add on to it all the financial nonsense that these guys still aren't registered. And Joan Garcia and Marcus Rashford, Deco apparently just got out of a meeting with him, and later, or I guess right now, because it's currently 11 p.m. or yeah, it's 11 p.m. in Spain as I'm recording this. They probably had the meeting already, but Hector Fort and Iñaki Peña were supposed to have a meeting with Deco already. And if you're grouping those two together on the same day, it really feels like they are on their way out. Whether that's a loan deal or a sale, I hope it just creates some financial space to make this registration for Rashford and Garcia possible. Garcia's going to be on a lot lower wages than Rashford is, but still, it's going to be a lot of money to come up with, and they're very much so struggling. They were talking about some financial nonsense, like accounting maneuvering, where they create the like VIP seats in the Estadio Johan Cruyff, which is where the women's team plays, and is only like a 20,000. It's a small. It's like a proper third division stadium, low second division stadium. It's tiny. And I don't know, they're going to try and like make VIP seats there and then say that the revenue, they did get revenue for these VIP seats, but because the Camp Nou is not working and there's no guarantee the club will be there, La Liga is not accepting that as a payment or, income, lowering their ability to register players. If they can get it across the board, which in their idea will transition these VIP seats from being in the Camp Nou to being in the Johan Cruyff Arena and therefore existing, then it, in theory, should that money that was initially paid for those seats in the Camp Nou will now count because those seats exist just, a 20-minute drive away from the Camp Nou. It's really weird. I don't really understand. I mean, I understand why they're trying to do it. They need that money, but it just looks desperate on my part. And I think for that reason, Fort and Iñaki Peña are going to be loaned out, not sold. So we'll see what happens, boys. Just more chaos, more nonsense. I don't love to see it, but it is what it is. Let me know what you think. Also, guys, if you haven't seen already, uploaded 2 new videos on the main channel. More, kind of history going back and looking at Neymar and Zlatan and their time at Barcelona. I had a lot of fun making them. Let me know what you think. And don't say anything about my haircut because I'm still insecure about it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.